Coming up next on All About Android, it's me, Jason Howell, and I'm joined by Ron Richards, Win Twit Dow, and Florence Ion. That's right, we got a lot to talk about today, starting with Flo, who reviews not one but two devices, the Pixel 6a and the Nothing Phone 1. So you're going to see those in person, in her hands-on, so to speak. Also, TMNT coming to Pixel Design. Samsung's foldables are kicking butt. OnePlus jettisons the mute switch. Play Store celebrates 10 wonderful years. And we have some of your emails and a voicemail next on All About Android.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Policygenius. If someone relies on your financial support, whether it's a child, a parent, or even a business partner, you need life insurance. Head to policygenius.com/AAA to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save. And by Blueland. Blueland is on a mission to eliminate single-use plastics by reinventing home essentials that are good for you and for the planet. Right now, you can get 15% off your first order when you go to blueland.com/AAA. And by Secureworks. Are you ready for inevitable cyber threats? Secureworks detects ever-changing threats and defends against them with a combination of security analytics and human intelligence. Visit secureworks.com/twit to get a free trial of Teases XDR. Hello and welcome to All About Android, episode 588, recorded on Tuesday, July 26, 2022, your weekly source for the latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I'm Jason Howell.
And I am Ron Richards.
And I'm Huyen Twit Dow.
And I'm muted. Hey. I'm Florence Ion, and I forgot how to do the intro to this show.
That's okay.
We had so much energy going into that. It was great. And then it just takes one errant mute button. And I've been there before. I think I did that last week. So, yeah.
Even when we do it wrong, it becomes the new right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anticipation.
Yeah, but who's counting? Burke's definitely not keeping track, except that he is, and he knows you did it twice, Ron. 2 times. There you go. Good to have you back, Flo. Good to have all of us here. I love when we get to do the show, all 4 of us, because, well, especially on a week like this, because I was noticing when I was like bringing together some of the news that it's not that it was a slow news week. It's just that some of the stories don't have a lot to them. So it's like, this thing happened. Okay. Or that thing happened. Okay.
It's not so much that it was a slow news week. It just was a boring news week.
But we've got some great ideas to make it way less boring and way more exciting.
So. And hardware. So.
And that's a big part of it. And
yes.
Win also has something to talk about from her very last feature at Trello. So we'll get to that and a whole lot more. But before we get into the news, I think this deserves to be at the top of the show. Not because I was ever a huge Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan, but because this seems like a match made in heaven when I look at these pictures. Apparently, they're the, D brand, the very popular and well-known phone case brand, has made a series of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Pixel cases that's pretty cool. Perfect. That's pretty awesome, I have to say.
I'm actually wait. When did the Pixel come out? It came out last fall, right? I'm kind of shocked it took this long for someone to come up with this.
Yeah. I mean,
this is very cool.
It's it kind of takes the headband. When you look at the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they're always wearing their colored eye headband things, and then of course they are green.
So here's the question, Jason: can you name them by color?
No, I can't.
I can throw it back up there. So you can. All right, Huyen, you go for it. Yeah.
Okay, so Leonardo, Raphael, Michelangelo, and Donatello.
Bravo! Very, very
not
good.
the order of the theme song. I was like going as the theme song in my head, and they're slightly out of order. This is actually kind of perfect because this year there's a new game released for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles called Shredder's Revenge. It's actually a kind of throwback to the old. Yeah, well, it's the old it's an arcade side scroller style, but it's a new game, and a lot of my friends have been playing it, like our close friend group. So I sent this in our chat, and I have a feeling when I go home next, I'm going to see a lot of green.
I will say that I spent many hours and quarters in front of the old 4-player Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle arcade game at the movie theater. Yeah, so definitely that was a blast. And I always played Leonardo. So
I can neither confirm nor deny that when my nephew was in town a week and a half ago, we may or may not have played the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game on my main cabinet. I can't confirm or deny that. It may have happened. It may not have happened. I'm just saying. So, yeah, it was a pretty fantastic game.
I also have a tidbit to add to this because I will not be left out. My dentist was
Leonardo.
No, was the dentist of the teenager in the second Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
Fascinating.
Oh, the actor.
Yeah,
I
there
do
was
like
pictures of him on the wall, and every time I would, my mom worked at this dentist office, and every time I would walk in, I would walk past this memorializing wall of his visit, and he's like, there's Ninja Turtles everywhere. So
I do like the idea of these service roles that have bit parts in movies. For example, my accountant was an altar boy in The Godfather Part 2.
What?
So,
That's incredible, Ron.
Which is
incredible.
Which is pretty great because he's from Brooklyn and they filmed at the church and they just said we need altar boys and they got the altar boys.
Oh my God.
And I feel a lot of safety that he takes care of my money. So yeah.
What other secondary or third tertiary line characters do we know in our lives and we just have no clue because they never talk about it? I'm really curious about that. I'm sure we all know somebody who has a secret life as that second bit character in that movie that you barely remember.
Love it.
Anyways,
I've been a bad guy in a lot of movies. That's all.
What's that?
I've been a bad guy in a lot of movies. There's a lot of bad guys named Burke. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Named Burke. Well, I'm an infamous serial killer in movies. So
Jason,
there's that.
Listen, we've seen Jeepers Creepers. We're not going to watch it again. Okay. I know that was your starring role in that movie.
I'm just saying, sometimes I wear a hockey mask. And if I do, don't run away because I want to help you. I don't want to hurt you. Anyways, let's jump into the news. That could have been the top story, but instead it was pre-news. So now it's time to get into the real news.
Yeah, well, Flo's here. We got some news.
Wow.
But it's Android beta here at the top of the news.
Really, really going downhill, Burke.
Wow.
Anyways.
Good segue.
Wow.
Yeah. Real good. But we know what's coming up now. So right off the top here, if you are on the beta track, then maybe for Android 13, maybe you saw that there was an update just yesterday. I know I did. And what else is there to say then? Google is at the very, very tail end of their beta process. The fourth beta came out earlier this month. This is just a point update to iron out a few other random things that have to do with connectivity. And but I do think that where we're at right now, potentially with the beta, might signal an earlier than previous year's release of the release candidate. I mean, obviously only Google knows, but when they want to time that and if it matters to them to kind of push it a little bit so that it's closer to the hardware event, or maybe they want more distance from the hardware event if they can. I'm not sure, but could mean that we could see the actual official release happening sometime in August, and that would be kind of neat. I feel like that's earlier than normal. I feel like usually it's September-ish time.
No, I think it's August.
Is it usually August?
Yeah, let's see. Let me look at let's Google it
Android
right now.
12.
Android 12 release date. Who can do it faster?
I'm on it.
October.
October. Wow.
Oh, wow. That's late. Let's see.
Well,
Android 11. Android 11 was September 8th.
Okay,
Android
September.
10. Android 10 was September 3rd.
I'm
Wow,
looking
so it
pretty
is
right
early.
here. I'm
Android 9 was
here.
Android 9 was August 6th, 2018.
Oh, thanks a lot, Android 9.
Android 8 was August 21st, 2017.
All right,
Okay,
so it used to be August.
Time.
Yeah.
So now
between
it
August
could
and September.
potentially-
Android 7 was August 22nd, 2016.
So this might be Google getting back to its roots. It's like,
There it is.
I want to revisit the old days. I've got a nostalgia for when we used to release our
We've
major
slipped a little. Well, because they aligned Android 12 to go with the Pixel 6 last year. That's why. Right,
Yeah.
like it was.
Right.
They wanted the new OS because it was the new Material U, and it was
Yeah,
a
you're right.
coordinated launch. So I bet you it was
Well,
ready
and
in
I
August.
think the pandemic scheduling also had
Yeah.
a little bit to do.
A lot
with
of
why
sure.
we
A
went
lot of
and
things
had a
thrown off
little-
track.
some
for sure.
delays. So, to be fair, but maybe August will be it this summer. I'm thinking it is. I was looking at that chart. It seems about right.
Is it Flo?
a
Would it be a
total
hot?
guess, but-
Would it be a hot Android summer?
No, because it's like the end of summer.
But it's the hottest
It's like almost
month.
Labor Day.
Yeah, but it's
You
the
can
hottest
still wear
month.
white. You can still wear white. It's okay.
Just say no, but it's almost. Is it? Children are already starting school by the time Android 13 rolls out. Like, there's not
I
summer
know.
anymore.
My
Which is back
friend's
into the
kid.
grind. I'm sorry.
My friend's kid is in Indiana, and I saw her back to school pictures. I was like, "What the hell? It's July." It's like it's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah,
not
Mona
right.
starts preschool on Monday, so it's like,
No,
oh my God, we're going back.
I have another
Yes, yeah,
4
I
weeks
know.
of the kids in summer camp. Jeez,
Oh goodness.
Yeah, my girls returned last
Anyway.
Thursday. Anyways,
What?
really?
back
That's
on
not
track.
right.
Yeah.
Why
That's
are
a
they
year-round school.
starting so early in July in
But
California?
Jason's
What
kids
the
go
hell?
to year-round school, though.
Yeah, it's a year-round school.
Oh, okay, that's all right.
I remember.
that's
That's a cheating answer then, isn't it? It's just like
Yeah.
a cheating answer.
It's weird.
They know no other reality. What can I say? We don't mind at all. It's actually pretty great. Anyways, that has nothing to do with Android or the release of Android other than I don't even know. But August, who knows? Maybe it'll happen. And that's all I got for the beta. I've installed it. I've noticed no changes. Everything runs great. Y'all are gonna love it when you get it. That's all I'm gonna say. So there you go.
I hope tablets really love it. I hope tablets love it because they need some loving. They've been unloved up to now, so
Very unloved.
neglected, I should say.
I hope that we love tablets because they love it. You know what I mean? Like there's some synergy there, and that pulls us back into the tablet world. We'll actually talk about that a little bit later in apps.
For some
Is it
reason,
like-
this whole
Go ahead, Ron.
after you, Flo. It was a dumb joke.
Well, I was going to say, is this like, love yourself? Because if you love yourself, people can see that you're shining from the inside. Is that like what Jason's
That's
saying?
really what it's like with Android and large screens, though. With the Google team, it's like, we love it, and we know you're gonna love it too. And then they just keep exuding this positive energy, and there's like hoping some suckers, catch on to it. And I mean, that is they
And
are
update
right
your
now. I
apps.
feel like. Yeah, Google is the epitome of positive thinking with large screens right now, because as much yes and meanness and like grumpiness that me and other devs keep throwing at them, they keep saying, well, how about large screens? And they keep throwing it in. And
It's
sometimes
Android, yes. Android and her boss girl stage, yes.
manifesting. They're going to manifest large screens. They're going to
Maybe it is a hot Android summer.
Exactly. Hot large screen summer. Is that that doesn't quite roll off the tongue quite as trippingly.
No, but it is a good episode title.
Yeah.
All right.
All
Well,
right,
in light of hot Android summer, it could be hot Samsung summer because we do have a Samsung's Unpacked event scheduled for August 10th, which is just around the corner. And actually ahead of that, the company shared some insight into the success of its foldable in the last year. Last year, 10 million foldables shipped by Samsung worldwide, which is a 300% growth for the industry from 2020. And they said 70% of customers looking for a foldable device chose the Z Flip 3 over the Z Fold 3, which I find fascinating. Samsung hopes to sell 15 million units this year. And a leak from a European retailer seems to show that the new devices will see a price increase from last year's models, which I don't like to hear. The Z Flip 4, the 128 gigabyte version for 1,080 euros compared to 1,049 euros last year. I mean, I'm sorry, it's like a 20 euro increase. It's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
But so even though here it says a price hike is likely, I feel like that is just purely everything is more expensive these days post pandemic, and that's fine. I was afraid it was going to be like a dramatic increase. I'd rather see these prices coming down to make them more accessible and make them more widely distributed. But that will take time. But I mean, hey, looks like Samsung figured out foldables. I mean, where Flo, Jason, where were we 5 years ago when we were scoffing at this whole endeavor and thinking it would never take off? They've shipped 10 million.
10 million.
We were, sorry to jump in, but we were looking at foldables that were very much like for a professional, I want to go from a phone to a tablet audience. But from what Ron just read, it seems the folding phone, the flip phone, is kind of coming back for a resurgence because of this foldable ability.
Definitely seems
Is it a
like
resurgence though? I mean, I don't know if it's a resurgence. I feel like it's just it's surging
of the mechanism.
Yeah, of the mechanism. Yes, because they
flip phone approach.
Okay, got it.
To smartphones or to just phones in general, because prior to smartphones it was just a phone or a feature phone that did the flippy thing, and now smartphones are doing the flippy thing. Just for context, in 2021 Samsung shipped 272 million total phones according to a CNET article that I'm looking at right now. So 272 million, and then they're saying here
hang on,
10 million.
Let me figure out
10
the
million
percentage
foldables.
Yeah, so 10 million of 272 million is
that's going to be pretty small.
3.7% of all their phones.
Small, but you're talking big numbers regardless. I mean, 10 million is no small number, and any of the nothings and the OnePluses and other manufacturers who aren't in the top tier would kill to have that number to begin with, or would be very happy with that. So for that to be their kind of like their foldable results, not bad. I mean, Samsung's the company to really prove that foldables have any sort of consumer kind of viability longer term,
Yeah, but I'm not quite ready to spend $1,000 on one yet. I'm still on the OnePlus 9 because I just really value stability over instability. So, it works. I've got everything set up on there. I've got all my virtual cards and stuff on there. So I don't really want to mess with it, but I really would like a new phone this year because the camera is just not where I want it to be. And so I'm waiting for this Pixel 7, whatever's going to happen. And the reason that I'm, committed to buying it is because I already know what I would be getting into if I spend the money on it. Like, I wouldn't feel annoyed if I had to put that much on a credit card because I know that's a device I'm going to be perfectly happy with. I just don't know if I'm still quite there with the flip phones.
So for me, the biggest thing with the flip phone is as we all know, I love me a foldable, right? Despite actually never having one as my daily driver. I will happily use one as my daily driver if somebody wants to buy it for me or give it to me. Because like you, Flo, I'm not going to pay $1,000 for a phone with a 3,000 milliamp battery, right? Like you're looking at 5 to 7 hours at best on that phone, right? Because of the size.
But I think the point is that you are not using. So I was kind of thinking about this while y'all were chatting in the back of my head. In my own little world.
You're doing a whole nother show in the back of your head, by the way.
Yes. Yes. And I was just thinking, I guess that means that I have to cut down on my screen time.
Yeah.
That's essentially why you would.
It's a feature.
Why you would get to that. Yeah. I would just rely on the smartwatch to get me all of the very simple interactions that I need to do,
Immediate things.
Responding to notifications and, Slack messages. And then anything bigger would require me to open the phone. And now I want to try it.
I mean, I'm down for trying it. I totally will try it. I just don't have the money. So.
of the four of us on this panel, Huyen, you are the one of us that has a foldable in your possession, and
that's right.
I've used it for any real long-term frame of mind. Are you? How do you feel about kind of the progression of foldables at this point, and especially leading into this next generation that Samsung kind of has around the corner and everything? Like, you have some of their foldables already. Would you want to continue that, or are you kind of like, oh yeah, it's neat, but it doesn't do everything that I need?
I honestly would. I've really gotten used to it. I've really gotten used to the form factor a lot and trying to figure out. There are still some weird edges in how it fits in my life. So it's still a little odd. I feel like the front screen's a little too narrow to use as like a traditional smartphone, but I really, really, really like having the expanded view. I kind of walk around like this constantly. It's a little hazardous, but I kind of walk around with it unfolded, and then it's very mobile. So I do like that. I am actually excited to see what the 4 is. So total like transparency, this was actually gifted to me. This was kind of part of I received this as part of one of those Google initiatives to, hey, devs, have a foldable and do something with it. I haven't done anything with it, my bad. But so so while I have it, I do think that the price tag, especially for this one and especially for the 4, is for was it 512 gigabyte 4 is going to be 1981 euros. So whatever the exchange rate is, like almost $2,000.
2,000, yeah.
I mean, I do genuinely like the Fold so much that I might consider it, but I just feel like that price gap is still a barrier for most people, and obviously why most people are picking the Flip, because it's significantly cheaper. I do like it though. I think the experience is great. I think there's something there. I was really disappointed to see that even with the supply chain issues and understanding what it takes to build this hardware, that it went more expensive, because I think what's really going to get people get this kind of adopted is cheap but good quality versions of it. So I'll consider it, but that's a lot of money. And honestly, as a dev, not having a Pixel phone as the beta is coming out, it's kind of good that I'm not employed right now, because waiting for the Android 13 beta Samsung is kind of painful, seeing everyone with a Pixel getting it, and as a dev that's not really acceptable. I need to find like my Pixel 4 wherever it may be.
Would you like to borrow a Pixel?
I might have one. I'm sure we have one. I need to borrow it. Yeah, no. I should
Google will be okay if I let you borrow my review unit.
Yeah,
I feel like
just for testing. I'm part of the crew. I'm part of the community. No, it's even as a dev, it's kind of weird not having to be in the beta testing. So that's a very particular me kind of thing. But I'm really excited about the hardware itself. I'm a little down about the pricing and everything.
So the pricing is
dumb. The pricing is dumb.
What does that say about it then, if Google has to sort of incentivize developers to develop for it, but yet they're not making the hardware that you would develop to?
Well, I mean, it's the same.
Instead, you're developing around this like third party.
It's the same, but Flo, it's the same. It's the same conversation we've been having about tablets all year. Right? If like Google is prioritizing and trying to get developers to develop for larger screens and tablets without touting a tablet of their own, right? So it's and the Google strategy has always been to let the OEMs lead with the hardware.
Yeah. Which, is it? We'll see. We'll talk about that in the hardware section.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. All right, Huyen, tell us a little bit about you were talking prior to the show about kind of one of the last features that you were working on as a developer at Trello, and it sounds like you're pretty proud of it. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, I am. So I meant to talk about this ages ago. I've been out of Trello for over 3 weeks now, but I'm actually really proud of this. It's really interesting for a number of reasons. This was one of my favorite projects. So as an Android dev, I'm a total UI nerd. Like I love doing like front user facing things. I love animation. I love doing UI. I love pixel pushing. I love putting buttons and sliders and text fields on the screen and making them pretty. So this is kind of my wheelhouse. It's a highly user facing feature. Now, I'm going to give a lot of backstory and then actually start talking. So this is a cool feature also in that, Trello is not a mobile first company. And it's really interesting because in the mobile space, even in the year of our smartphone 2022, most companies, I'd have to say most companies that do have an Android app are not mobile first or even say mobile priority. So like, companies like say Uber and Lyft and kind of more, those kind of apps are specifically mobile first, right? They don't really have a web component. And then there's other companies like say Twitter or Pinterest where they have a web component, but the mobile experience is really important. And there's kind of other companies where they have a mobile app because you have to have one in 2022, but the user experience, features, and business is driven by web. So what was really cool about this feature was that this was a mobile only feature that actually only ended up being on Android for not any good reason other than we just lost the person that was working on the iOS side. But basically what I created for Trello is if you're a Trello user, it's basically like a project board. It's like a pin board or a Kanban if you're that kind of person. And you can actually, for each card that lives on the Trello board, select a card cover. So you can attach images to each card and you can select one of them to be a cover. And I probably should have done the smart thing and pulled up a Trello board and showed you what card covers look like. But basically they're like a thumbnail more or less on the card cover. Mm-hmm. So what I did and what this was like a solo project for me is that I created an image editor, an image cropper for the card covers, because normally you wouldn't need to just kind of crop it or rotate it or whatever you want to do on your own and then upload that to Trello. So what I did was create a crop editor. Now this is a mobile only feature, which is really, really rare for us. Surprisingly rare. It's kind of one of those things where you hope that, when you're a mobile dev, that you get to kind of play around with the fact that mobile is so mobile and in people's hands and pockets all the time. But it's rare to get like a mobile only feature, especially at a place like Trello where they are very web driven. Web goes first. So anyway, yeah, it's a crop editor. I guess we can play the video now. So what you can do is if you have an existing card cover, you can go ahead and crop it. And this was all written in Jetpack Compose, by the way. And you can pinch the zoom and resize it. You can actually change the frame or the aspect ratio of the image as well. And this is supposed to be roughly WYSIWYG. So we have some kind of special algorithm that like sizes and kind of like sizes the cover to fit on the thumbnail. But yeah, this is basically what I wrote. And so this is kind of like what my dream feature is and kind of like what the promise of Compose is. It was done pretty quickly. I think I did the first like draft of the sizing and kind of exporting to an image in like about a week or two. I kind of cheated because I have done a feature like this before. I worked like a grocery store app for another company and they had like in-house photo printing. So I kind of already had an idea of how to make this work. But yeah, it was all written in all Compose, which I've talked about before on the show, which is the new modern Android UI development toolkit. So this was written in all that. And I mean, I could have written this in the traditional view system, but it would have taken me a lot longer. It would have been a lot less nice and it would have been less animated because it's a lot harder. Oh, I tried to blur out things. I didn't do a good job. But yeah, you can basically pick images, any images you want. You can take images with your camera and you can crop them. So if you're using Trello, please use this feature and think of me. But yeah, I'm really proud of it. It came together really quickly. Nice. Yeah, and it was really easy to do with Jetpack Compose. So all I can say is like the takeaway is, other than like I'm really proud of this, and it's the last thing I worked at Trello, is that the fact that I did this fairly quickly and the code looks kind of good, and from a developer side is all kind of a benefit of using Jetpack Compose. So anyway, yeah, that's my last feature at Trello. And hopefully maybe more apps that you use will come up with also more mobile interesting or mobile specific and delightful, interesting features using Jetpack Compose, because it is a lot faster and it is a lot more powerful. So yeah, there's my last Trello feature. I'm sorry that it's less interesting for the audio podcast users, but if you aren't able to see it on the video, maybe download Trello for me and just take a look at it.
Yeah, I was going to say, just download Trello and then do it, and then you'll see it.
Experience it yourself. Congratulations, Huyen. That's awesome. And it's got to be so, as somebody who is envious of people like you who actually can make stuff, it's got to be great to open up an app and point and say, I did that.
Totally.
You know, like that's so cool.
That I appreciate it. No, thank you. Yeah. It was
like
a
that
lot of fun.
Corner of that app is me.
That is me. And then it's kind of funny, like literally as developers, we tend to throw stuff in. So I threw in a lot of the animation and like some of the transitions and stuff. But Yeah, it's really interesting. Also, like I learned a lot of stuff. Like we went into weird edge cases as well, and this is the kind of stuff that developers have to think about day to day. So, for example, on Trello, you can have an animated GIF as a thumbnail, as a card cover, but there's no way I was writing writing feature to crop that because it's a lot harder. So I actually, in the process of making this feature, ended up kind of, what do we call it? Yak shaving. It's where you kind of start doing one thing and then you have to do another thing to do this thing and then another thing to do this thing. There's like an episode of, what is it, Malcolm in the Middle that's like that, and you end up shaving a yak for some reason. So I ended up having to write a utility that is able to detect whether an image was an animated GIF. So I was actually like looking at the file header bit by bit and all kinds of stuff like that. So it was a really fun project for me, and I did it solo, and it was my last thing at Trello. Nice. Yeah, more or less my last thing at Trello. So yeah, anyway, I don't know if you have any questions about it or at all, I can tell you what I can tell you. You can just hit me up on Twitter or something and ask me questions about it or any part of the dev process. I love talking about this stuff. So I'll stop talking about it now though, so we can move on with the show.
Nice.
But I wanted to
thank you for showing that off. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Thank you for showing that off. That's really cool. It looks
very cool.
Awesome.
All right, so let's take a moment and thank our first sponsor of the episode, because this episode of All About Android is brought to you by Policygenius. And listen, in an unpredictable economy, life insurance can offer peace of mind that anyone who relies on you financially, whether it's a child, a parent, or even a business partner, will have a financial cushion if something happens. And listen, I got to tell you, I've lived life by the seat of my pants for many, many years. And now that I am both a business owner and a father and a husband and a homeowner, I now recognize the value of life insurance and how it really is a good thing to have, especially when you've got other people depending on you. And one of the things also was that, I had jobs, and there's always in your benefits, there's always life insurance kind of thrown in with the job. But as I found out, and thanks to Policygenius, having life insurance through your job may not be enough. Most people need more coverage to properly provide for their families. Typically, life insurance gets more expensive as you age, so it's smart to get a policy sooner rather than later. So here's how Policygenius works. Policygenius is an insurance comparison website that makes it easy to compare quotes from top companies like AIG and Prudential in one place to find your lowest price. You could save 50% or more on life insurance by comparing quotes with Policygenius. Just head to policygenius.com/AAA to get personalized quotes in minutes and find the right policy for your needs. The licensed agents at Policygenius work for you, not the insurance companies. They're on hand through the entire process to help you understand your options so you can make decisions with confidence. Policygenius doesn't add on extra fees or sell your information to third parties. They have thousands of 5-star reviews across Google and Trustpilot. They have options that offer coverage in as little as a week and avoids unnecessary medical exams. Since 2014, Policygenius has helped over 30 million people shop for insurance and placed over $150 billion in coverage. And while you're there, Policygenius has home, auto, disability, renters, and more. So head to policygenius.com/AAA to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save. Thanks, Policygenius, for protecting us in all the scary things that can happen in life. Policygenius.com/AAA. Go get them.
Thank you, Policygenius. We appreciate you. All right, it's time to head to the shack. It's Flo's Hardware Shack.
For our audio viewers, we have the wonderful Flo's Hardware Shack bumper that is possibly one of Victor's finest hours, by the way.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah,
it was pretty amazing.
Every time I want to cry because it's like it's so nice, and
because it just sums up
your
life in one 16:9 image. It's just like
yeah. I mean, I was watching 90210 while getting ready for the show. I was in the college years. It was right after Stuart and Brenda tried to run away to Vegas to get married.
Oh, Stuart! I never liked Stuart. Let me tell you.
Me neither. Well, here's the Pixel 6a.
There it is.
The phone has been on everybody's minds.
Yep. And
it's a great phone.
It's a great phone. Are you like choking back tears? It's that good?
No, I'm just, did we expect anything less at this point from this mid-ranger? I mean, this is the reason that
is a pretty known quantity at this point.
Is this the mid-range that sets the bar for the mid-range?
100%. As I said in my review headline, this phone. So let me peel off. So this is the Google casing that you can buy for the green variant, and you peel it off. Okay, you can't peel it off. Actually, it's a little hard to get off because it's a case. It's supposed to protect it. There we go. And let me just clean this chassis off so you can just see the back.
This is compelling show. Oh, look at that. What color is that?
Oh, it's so shiny.
What was this? Sage green? Is that what it was called?
Let's
it's
see.
really nice in person. It's
Pixel
really nice.
Seafoam.
It looks nice.
Seafoam.
Yeah,
green?
it is sage. It is sage. Yeah.
A sage, a beautiful green-gray color that resembles the color of dried sage leaves.
Yes, and this is
There
the
you go.
wallpaper. I put a Studio Ghibli wallpaper for it.
Oh, so the colors are sage, chalk, and charcoal. Jason.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I don't know. Do you guys notice anything that you can see on this interface?
It's hard to see because it's
icons
brightness.
Material U'd.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Icons are material U'd.
Yeah, something to know about the Pixel 6a is that if you did pre-order it last week and it's supposed to be shipping in 2 days, you will be getting a version of Android 12 with some beta Android 13 features bundled in there. Sort of a nice little, thanks
Look
for being a
forward.
Google customer.
Nice.
Here's some
And
features early.
So then does it come with icon sets installed, or did you have to install the icons in order to do that, or was that dynamically created? Like how does that work? Because what you were showing off is like the icons are painted, right? Like they're painted differently than the icons that I'm used to seeing.
Yeah, the icons they've got the so these are the accented icons, and I apologize, this is a terrible way to try and show the video audience, but these are the Material U icons that are available, the adaptive icons available in Android 13.
Oh, okay. So then maybe this is a question for Huyen. Do developers have to then create a version of their icon separate from their initial version, and then when people have the mode on, then it just pulls that? Is that how that works?
Yeah, you need some developer help for that, as Lordy said. But
Got it.
we just y'all gotta update those icons, which I wonder if my team at Trello did. They probably did. But yeah, it's that this would be part of your Android 13 getting readiness.
Right.
From this year. But yeah, you would have to. Sorry.
Cool.
So that's
well,
nice.
That's cool. That does look nice. And
It's great. Sorry.
And what you're saying is that is a feature that we'll probably all have better access to when Android 13 hits our phones. But right now it's hitting the Pixel 6a. That's cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, you remember Google does like the Pixel drops they have. I really feel like they're trying to say, okay, you're getting this Pixel, so you're going to have some perks, but nothing, it's not wild like Samsung, how they really make it a marketing opportunity. But anyways, this is a $450 phone. I really, really like it. It really does feel like a premium device. It's the smallest Pixel that you can buy right now. So if you're looking for a really handheld Android device, this is 6.1 inch screen. It is not the smallest phone you can buy. Technically, one of the smallest phones you can buy right now is the iPhone SE, which if you're watching this show, maybe you're considering it for somebody. Then you should know that. So iPhone SE is a lot smaller than this. This is a lighter phone by a couple of grams, as far as I remember from the numbers in my head. And those two things, the lightness and the small form factor, are both a net positive and perhaps a negative for some folks, because a smaller phone means it's a little harder to type on. You don't get as much screen real estate. But a smaller phone for some people also means more usability for their particular needs. It also means pocketability, which is not something that we really have with the regular Pixel 6s. So things to consider when you're considering the Pixel 6a.
I'm also noticing when I'm looking at the pictures that you have in your review, with the 6 to the left and the 6A to the right. Like I already knew that the camera bump depth was different, right? Like it's a shallower camera bump, but I didn't realize that it's also narrower. It's actually considerably more narrow than the other one. So it's like they've really shrunk down the camera bump on this one.
Let's see if you can. So.
Oh yeah.
Can you see?
Look at that. It's almost
very
flush.
thin.
Flush, yeah.
Yeah. It's flush. And quite frankly, I prefer it that way. There are people in my life who like the bump on the Pixel because it kind of gives like a little riser in the back, but it adds to the real estate of the phone when you do that.
Sure.
So, something to consider.
Fingerprint unlock. That's one of the things that lately on my 6 Pro I've been kind of not struggling with, but sometimes it's fast, sometimes it's slow, and that I don't know. Maybe that's because I've been part of the beta and there's some weird wonkiness in there. But
you
point
demo.
out that it's super fast.
That's nice.
Boof.
That's snappy.
Wow, that is nice. Boop.
Yeah, it is way faster, actually. The thing about the Pixel 6 is that you kind of have to hold down your print a little bit. Like, it's only the difference of a split millisecond, but it's noticeable when you're using it. Like, I'm so used to the really fast way of getting into my OnePlus devices. It's just like I just tap them and they let me in, which maybe, what does that really say about the security? I don't know. But
Right.
So that's something to consider. But it does feel faster. It does, which is nice.
Cool.
Nice.
Cool.
60 hertz refresh rate on the display. I want to bring that up. There's two reasons to consider this. It's a good thing because it will save you a lot on battery. In fact, this phone ended up lasting 18 hours in the Gizmodo battery test. It was better than the Pixel 6 with its bigger battery on the inside. And I definitely think the screen has a lot to do with that battery, the measurements between those two phones. But of course, the downside is that if you're on a website with a lot of columns or just like a lot of graphics going on, it does start to look a little choppy. Like there's a noticeable choppiness versus like I've been living life with 120 hertz every day. And I can tell when I'm not on it. I've become that person.
Your eyes have become accustomed to it. Yeah.
Once you go, like it's the kind of thing you can't go back from, right? So
yes,
yeah.
Exactly. And it's worth noting the Galaxy A53, the Samsung version of the mid-range, they are really competing at this category with their screen because that's what Samsung does best. And so 120 hertz on that phone. And I should also mention that phone outlasted this phone's battery test because that phone has a 5,000 milliamp battery, which is about 600 bigger than this one. And so that's just to say if like the screen is what you're going to prioritize from this price point, then a Samsung device would be the thing to go for. But if what you want is a camera, I don't know how else you could pick anything but the Pixel 6a.
That makes sense as well. I mean, that's
So,
repeatedly kind of the story of the A series, right?
That algorithm is incredible. Now, granted, there are differences between the Pixel 6a and the Pixel 6. The Pixel 6 has actual bigger, optical lenses on the back, bigger sensors, so it's able to capture in detail that the Pixel 6a cannot. Not to mention that it can zoom. There's some actual optical zoom on the Pixel 6 phones, whereas the Pixel 6a has what's called a super zoom, which is just digital. It's up to 7x. It's fine if you need
AI
to
infused.
Yeah, it's like fine if you need to like zoom into something, but it's not for taking a photo to share with somebody.
Right.
That's sort of how I feel. Night sight, of course, is incredible. Stupid incredible. I really do feel like this is the benchmark for taking night shots. But if that's not super important to you, then the Pixel 6a, maybe you don't care for the Pixel 6a. You can go with something else.
If what's most important to you is listening to your wired headphones, this is the first A series that doesn't have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack too. See, they're all falling down.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to be honest. I didn't mention it because I don't care. So,
yeah. I think more and more people are in the same boat. Yeah.
Yeah, and just think about how many wireless earphones and headphones are available on the market now. Like, I feel they want us to have like 3 of each. That's sort of how it feels in this market. Last couple of things about the Pixel 6a before we move on. 128 gigs of storage with no micro SD slot, which is kind of a bummer because I personally don't feel like that's very much. But for this price point, it's fine. Phone chassis is still a little slippery on the outside, so you are going to want to get a case for this. And again, the small size might be kind of hard for some people. I actually ended up, while I like the small size for the whole fits into my purse, fits into my pant pocket sort of thing, like I cannot type on a small screen with my claws. And I like to have long nails, and it's very hard to message without sort of messing up the automatic typing. It gets it wrong a lot. Because you got to do the
tap thing with like sideways thing that I
exactly.
see.
It's right.
Women with long nails.
How long my nail is.
You don't do that anymore. You're like doing this thing. It's kind of sideways.
Yes.
It's just a larger
very hard
surface,
to do. Very hard to do on a small screen. It's like it drives you nuts. It's so tedious. So
nice. So it sounds like you're smitten. You're 6A smitten.
Yeah, they keep doing a really great job with this lineup. And I think this is the one where Google's really finding that it's going to compete the best. Like they figured out the formula for this particular price point. So why not just keep going with it? And it still works.
Yeah, still works. So Google's given a mid-ranger that appeals to everyone. And then there's nothing giving a mid-ranger that appeals to someone.
I was going to say no one?
To someone. Certainly someone. What do you think about the Nothing Phone one?
Let's see. Hold on.
You have it. Do you have it in hand? Oh, there it is.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh,
are you?
Looks like a
hold on,
nightclub.
I got to set this up.
It looks like a
sorry
nightclub.
to our audio listeners, but I am currently possibly giving somebody a seizure. We should probably actually put a warning before this segment.
It's not.
She's making it.
Ooh.
It's not really flashing that much, and it's not.
It flashes a little. I mean, it's noticeable. It looks like a neon sign that's broken.
That's exactly what it looks like.
Snap.
Right?
Like
where it flashes a little and then doesn't.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have whatever that music visualization thing has been going on. I guess there's there's a beta version or something floating around, and some people have found like access to it. But I don't have that. I tried to get it on while we were starting the show. It did not show up, but this is a $475 phone, but it is nothing that you can buy in the US. So sometimes it feels like when I start off this segment or this conversation with somebody that I don't know how much further to go in, because if you live in the United States, you are not going to buy this phone.
Well, you can't.
You can't. It barely works here. Yes, they say it'll work on T-Mobile, but it's not guaranteed to work on all of T-Mobile, and so that's something to take into consideration. It'll only work on part of the AT&T network. It won't work on Verizon at all. It doesn't have any of that. So you really have to be from a specific niche to want to go through the trouble of importing this device.
Why does this all feel familiar? Wasn't there a phone years ago that were like we all want? Was it OnePlus or what?
Yes,
what phone was
it? It was called the OnePlus.
It was OnePlus, wasn't it? Yeah.
I keep feeling like deja vu throughout this whole thing, right down to the hype machine with the let's have an event in person and invite fans, and which they did in London. They have a Discord. I have to say, we are missing this from the Android realm. We are missing
a little hype,
some fandom.
Hype. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we lost that with
a little cachet, a little like velvet rope kind of, ooh, I want to be in the cool club kind of thing. I'm with you. Yeah, that doesn't currently exist.
I was going to say, we've lost a little since the capitalization of Google. Just right, because haha, it's a corporation. No, but in all sincerity, since we don't have the Nexus line anymore, it's interesting to see a phone that it's clearly going after us fanboys. But I don't know how it's going to be received in 2022. And that's why it feels like this glyph interface on the back is really that sort of gimmick to bring people in. I have not found any usefulness from the glyph during my testing. I actually find the lights to be kind of annoying. I would actually prefer if they were RGB, because I do love RGB. Mm-hmm.
Wasn't this something I said when it first got unveiled? I'm like, this seems really cool, like something I would turn off after like a day of having it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, I'm not, there's a way to not be annoyed by it. So you can just have it turn on when it's charging. And so when it's charging, the light here at the bottom, I'm holding the phone upside down, the light here at the bottom near the charging port gives you the little meter. So you see how much juice you have, which is not bad.
That's
if you want, you can set you can't set per app notifications yet.
Yep, which is a problem.
Yeah, which I was kind of hoping for, because I would love to know, like, if it's my messages or
is it a notification
WhatsApp.
I actually care about, right? Like that, like let me prioritize my notifications. Don't even give me like I mean, I because we were talking about this flow when it came out and wondering if they'll open up access to it to the developers so that the apps can control the lights in some certain way, but at least allow me to identify the apps I want the notifications from it, or prioritize or something like that. Because, for me, a WhatsApp notification is way more important than a whatnot notification. So
yeah, for sure. For sure. So that,
and I don't know why I picked two apps that start with the word what in that example.
No, it's fine.
That was intentional.
It was, anyway, the Nothing Phone 1 is still kind of a little hypey situation. Peculiar. Yeah, I do like the overall build. It is very cool. Definitely. Like I said, I do wish it was RGB, because that's fine. If Razer can do it, so can Nothing.
That gives them something to iterate on. The Nothing Phone 2 now with RGB. Yeah, you wanted red and blue and green and all that back there. Now you can.
Yeah. Let's very quickly, I just want to get through performance. So if anybody is thinking about importing this phone, or you live somewhere that you can buy this phone, this is a mid-range device. It's a Qualcomm Snapdragon 778G Plus, and the silicone was tweaked to allow for reverse charging and wireless charging. So those are two nice, like, premium features that you would get at this decidedly mid-range price point. Let's see. It's got the cameras on the back are not bad. They're not bad. They're not like even the Pixel 6a.
Pixel 6a, right?
They're not. Let's say they're not Google algorithm. Not to parody with that, but they are definitely fine. And like the nighttime capabilities were actually pretty impressive. I was impressed that I was able to get like a long exposure shot that actually showed something in the distance. I was testing this phone during a grass fire that happened right outside my backyard. The zoom is not good on this, so that is welcome to scenic California. It's always burning somewhere. And did not really work for weather chasing. Let's put it that way. And I am a weather chaser because I live in Fire County. So can't chase fires with this one. But I guess why would you? Because this is a fancy phone for fancy people.
You wouldn't want to get it dirty. That's actually a good question. How is how's keeping it clean? It's a very white device, right? I don't know if you've been out in the
back is
right. Like does it
glass? So at least you
does it pick up fingerprints and like does it stay nice and sheen like that? It looks like it. Looks nice.
No, it's super covered in my fingerprints right now. Actually, it's very cloudy.
Cool.
Can't see it on the screen.
You know when the kids or the dogs put their mouths on the window and they breathe into it.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what it looks like on the back of the Nothing phone right now from my fingers.
Yum.
Yum. I don't know if that's the word I would use, Jason, but
I kind of hope they come out with a season 2 and that we get something that can work in the United States. I definitely am not sure how this phone is going to fit in here in the US with the other brands that are sold here, one which we will talk about next. So I am going to be like watching to see if this strategy still works in a couple of years from now. Remember, OnePlus started out really slow as well, but that was back in 2014. And it's a very different market now. I feel like people are more reliant on having a reliable device. And it's not that this device isn't reliable. It's just that it's very much for us and not for the people outside of our bubble. And so I'm trying to see, how are you going to strike those people outside of the bubble? And it looks like they're going for people who are into the avant-garde, who are into like the NFT collecting, like the Tesla
There's even
driving.
an NFT widget, I think, on this device. Yeah, they're leaning into that.
Which I can't show you because Mama doesn't own any NFTs.
It's okay. No shame in
I've
that,
got a lot
I
of
don't think.
Tamagotchi. Those are my
Maybe
version.
we know that.
Widget then. All right, so that's quite the A to B comparison, right? The 6A seems like the mid-ranger that is going to appeal to everyone. The Nothing phone, it's kind of a little bit of a head scratcher, kind of cool in some ways, but certainly not the every person phone.
Yeah,
not the.
It
not
definitely. I feel like if only this phone came out a couple of years ago.
It might be taken a little more seriously, maybe, if that happened.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it that? Are we just too jaded? That's what I wonder.
I mean, come on, guys. We just got through some really hard, traumatic stuff. We're a little jaded right now. And I'm not trying to like bring down the house here, but I'm trying to be realistic in terms of like marketing and hardware, which is why I keep bringing up reliability, because all anybody wants right now is some stability. I'm projecting. Absolutely.
Well, okay. So we want stability, but OnePlus is going to say, apparently, according to some early information, if you thought that you were going to get a little switch on your OnePlus 10T when it's scheduled to launch on August 3rd, apparently you're not going to get it. It's not going to have the mute switch. Not anymore. This is the first flagship by OnePlus to not have the mute switch, the little switch toggle that goes between like vibrate, silent, and ringer on. They got rid of it, and apparently they did it because what was it? To make space for, quote, high wattage charging, a large battery capacity, and better antenna signal. This is Hope Liu, who's the chief designer, who said, to ensure the OnePlus 10T delivers in the areas we know our users value most, while retaining the alert slider, we would have had to stack the device's motherboard, which would have made the device thicker. So that's a signature of OnePlus devices, and a signature that people has always seemed to really appreciate, or maybe they didn't. I mean, OnePlus wouldn't be getting rid of it if they thought that doing so they would completely tank the possibility of anyone buying the new phone, right?
Well, I mean, is the mute switch going to tank the possibility of people buying the phone? I mean, to your point, there's got to be some level of research that goes into making a decision like that. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder, because they probably have no data I wonder if the data they get, the anonymous data they get from use of the phone shows whether people actually used it or not. Or if it was
That's a good question.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Question. I mean, I'd say 90% of the time my phone is on vibrate mode.
D&D all the way. Flo,
and D&D is happening behind the scenes, yes.
Flo, what do you think of this?
I'm bummed because I love the volume rocker. I really do.
Yeah.
Or the volume slider or whatever it's called.
That's a great
I don't
band
even know
name.
what it's
Volume Rocker. I'd go see them. Volume Rocker. That's pretty cool.
The notification slider or whatever it is.
I'll miss it. But
Tier.
the T is not supposed to be like the end all be all phone. It's always the like 1+1, you know?
What do you mean? No, explain.
You mean the 1+10 flow, not 1+1? That's a.
It's just like the extra, like the T is the extra bit on top of the Pro that already exists.
I see.
So
I see.
it would make sense that they would give and take for something that's a little more for everybody versus something that's a little more for the person who wants the +1.
Yeah. I could have sworn that one of OnePlus's earlier kind of not flagship devices already got rid of the alert slider, but I'm doing a search to try and find which one that actually was.
The 10 Pro has it. Thank God.
Yeah, no, I know that the flagships have all had it. I want to say, you know how they've really started kind of like leaning into the mid and low range devices, and I think on those.
Oh, like the N200?
Yeah, I could be wrong. I just kind of thought that was already happening on some of their lower end devices, but anywho, removing it from the 10T, is going to upset some people who were hoping for that device for sure. What about you, Win? Yeah. Is this a feature that I mean, I don't think you have a OnePlus phone right now along with your Samsung device, but
I do have one, but I haven't really been using it. So I guess I don't know what I've been missing. Although, to be perfectly frank with my parents and all the calls over the years of like, I don't know how my phone went on to not silent. I now know what I've been missing. So that I do like these kind of hardware features. I do understand like the design of the motherboard and all that kind of stuff makes it thicker, and we're not looking to make phones bigger any more than we want them to be. I kind of like, I like physical features that are distinguishing and just fully utility like this. So I'm sad that it's going. I'm sad of the loss of it, even though I would not have noticed if we hadn't talked about the story. But right. That's sad. I miss features like this. I wish we had more, not less.
Distinguishing hardware features like an alert slider, like a rear phone glyph, all of these things that we don't see often in smartphones. Mm-hmm. It feels like, they kind of stand out because, and meanwhile, an alert slider has been on iPhones since the beginning and they haven't gone anywhere. So like, it's not like it doesn't exist in other parts of the smartphone world, but these things, these distinguishable hardware features, maybe at a certain point they end up being kind of, like OnePlus gets rid of it because it's not something that consumers are used to or use or care about, even though that was their signature for a long time. No one else is doing it, and those phones are selling just fine. And so OnePlus is over there going, well, we can actually do things like the marketing guy said, faster wireless charging because we can fit more components on the inside. That's something that consumers actually care about and expect because they see those in other devices. They're not seeing alert sliders in other Android devices. So maybe that's part of it. I don't know. It becomes an easy target, I guess, is what I'm saying, right? And maybe that ends up happening with a phone like the Nothing phone at some point. It's like, well, we came out with the Nothing Phone 1 and we had the glyph and we thought it was the coolest thing, but you know what? People were just kind of like lukewarm to it. And so when they have to save costs down the line to make sure that they can release a phone, like maybe that's the feature that goes, and that's why. I don't know. Just a guess.
It's all return on investment, right? Because if
totally,
the novelness and the delight that you might get from the volume rocker playing live this Friday would, if it means that, and they probably, I'm guessing I can't imagine, I mean, I don't actually know how they would run metrics on this, but like, I guess they would probably have some kind of metric saying, okay, people only like 20% of users use it, and maybe they only use it like once a month or once a week. And then kind of pitting that against more practical things, more quick charging, thinner phone. It's like they've matured, and rather than getting like the fancy shiny thing, they're like, settling down and getting that life insurance and getting, the car insurance and, making sure that they get their estate in order. and get that quick wireless charging in order. And I guess it makes sense. It's a constant like battle for that kind of thing. So it's like it's not fun and it doesn't distinguish things, but if it makes more sense and down the line people just don't, if people aren't like knocking your door and making petitions about it, then I guess it's okay. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, totally.
You gotta admit and appreciate what other Android or tech podcast can spend 10 minutes on a mute switch.
That's
Only
right.
us.
That's
Only
the
us.
deep dive that only we bring to the world of Android. Thank you so much for watching and listening. We have more coming up here. But before we get into the app section, I want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of this episode of All About Android, and that is Blueland. Did you know that an estimated 5 billion plastic hand soap and cleaning bottles are thrown away every year? Sometimes when I look at like just how much plastic is going into the blue bins, throughout the neighborhood, and then I start doing kind of like mental math, which is based on nothing but, whoa, that's a lot of plastic. And then, start to like multiply that out into this impossible number. It's crazy to think about how much plastic is being thrown away every year. If this is just what's happening in our neighborhood, let alone the entire, planet Earth. And if that's not bad enough, most cleaning formulas are 90% water, which is heavy to ship, right? That leads to excessive carbon emissions. And plus, those products are often filled with nasty ingredients, things like chlorine and ammonia. That's a lose-lose situation for you and the planet. And if you ever feel overwhelmed by the number of plastic bottles and containers that you throw away, well, you can start to think about purchasing more eco-friendly products. Sometimes you might not know where to start. Maybe you tried a few green products, but you find them pricey or ineffective. That's certainly happened. If you answered yes to any of these questions, you need to check out Blueland. Blueland is on a mission to eliminate single-use plastics by reinventing home essentials that are actually good for you and good for the planet. And it's a really cool approach. Blueland has a tablet refill solution. So it takes up 10 times less space than a traditional bottle. And their formulas actually keep your home clean, smelling amazing. And the idea is really simple. You just grab one of the beautiful forever bottles, as they call it. This is a bottle that, like we have hand soap dispensers, Blueland hand soap dispensers throughout the house. And they're just a really nice quality glass bottle with a plastic pump. The plastic pump is the only plastic part of it, but it's really well built, right? And then what we can do is we can fill that bottle with warm water, drop in a single tablet, and boom, it's like it foams, and now it's a cleaning solution. Refills start at $2. You don't have to buy a new plastic bottle or glass bottle every time you run out. You can even set up a subscription so you never run out of the products you use most, and then you can save even more when you buy in bulk, of course. So cleaning sprays, hand soap, toilet cleaner, laundry tablets, all Blueland products are made with ingredients that you can feel good about. And like I said, we've got these things throughout our house. We love them. We use them. It makes you just feel like every time I fill up the hand soap thing with a new tablet and water, that's one less plastic piece of trash that's going in the recycling. And I feel really good about that, right? Like you can just reuse it over and over and over again. That's the point. Try their Clean Essentials kit. It has everything you need to get started. Blueland products come in refreshing signature scents. So like iris agave, fresh lemon, eucalyptus mint. And for a limited time, their hand soap is getting a summer upgrade with 3 new scents: strawberry rhubarb, citrus patchouli, and coconut palm. So check it out. You're going to love just the kind of family of products that you can find with Blueland. Right now, you can get 15% off your first order when you go to blueland.com/AAA. That's 15% off your first order of any Blueland products at blueland.com/AAA. Help the earth, but also give yourself products that they smell good, they're effective, they do exactly what you want them to do, and you're saving planet Earth in the process. It's just a win-win all around. Blueland.com/AAA, and we thank Blueland for their support of this show. All right, it's apps time. Let's jump in.
Alrighty. So I don't know about you guys if you realized, if you looked at your calendars, but here we are. It is 10 years of the Google Play Store. And what could be the best? And so 10 years ago in 2012, they rebranded from the Android market to Google Play Store. And when you think of all the great things Google could do to celebrate this, who on their bingo card had tweak the logo? Because I sure didn't. Basically, they kept the same shape of the logo and just made the colors less pastel-y and more the standard Google colors and refined it a little. So yeah, it's a new thing. But in addition to tweaking the logo, here's some stats about the Google Play Store. They've served over 2.5 billion people in 190 countries and over 2 million developers. And to celebrate this subtle logo change, and our video viewers, you can see it as Burke is swiping left and right. You can see the difference as it goes from pastel blue to just blue and green and all that stuff. They are offering, and I did get this on my phone. I got this alert and I jumped on it. 10x Google Play Points booster for purchases for a limited time. So you can celebrate this week by getting 10 times the Google Play Points to celebrate 10 years of Google Play. Congratulations, Google Play. We've tolerated you for 10 years.
I mean, Google Play, okay, yeah, the logo is like, I mean, it's different. It's the same shape and everything. It's just kind of rounded. I mean, really what they're doing is they're getting the logo of Google Play to match the kind of the exact approach that they did already with all of the other logos of the other apps. If you remember, like months and months ago, they did Drive, they did like all of their marquee apps. And when you look at their logos, like in your app drawer, they all look super similar, right? Because they're all kind of the same colors, similar shapes, and so they just basically did that with Google Play. But I noticed when I went to Google Play recently on the web, which I guess I hadn't done in a while, man, they have really, and actually the app as well, they have really changed like the approach of the store. It used to be really kind of sterile and lots of little rows of icons and everything. And now it's like very visually kind of rich, large banners and hero images and stuff, which I guess means information density goes through the floor. But, I don't know. It's appealing to the eye, I suppose.
Let's talk about that Play Pass.
Yeah. What do you think? What's on your mind?
I'm still using it.
Yeah?
Well, I mean, because we're talking about like the evolution of the Play Store, and you know, it's interesting because it started as an Android marketplace, and now it's just anything and everything. Mostly games. Yeah, there's a lot of games. It seems to be a lot of games in this. I still do have a hard time like looking for just like an app when I need it, I will say. So we're still working on some
for
things.
an app that works with Play Pass, or just in general.
Just like in general. General.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. I don't know that I guess I'm surprised that you're still with Play Pass. That means something.
Are you serious?
Well, I don't know. I haven't thought about it in a while, to be honest. I've never really done the Play Pass thing, but that's awesome that you're still like rocking it. You're obviously getting your money's worth out of it. Like that's a positive for Play Pass.
It, you know what? It unlocks everything for Mona. So it's just kind of,
that's
feels,
super helpful.
Yeah. It's just, the Lego Duplo app. Oh my God, she loves it. And so the Play Pass, if you have it, it unlocks every pack on there. So, it's like these little things. And I kind of, or sometimes if I'm going to go look for an app still, I can, look for the Play Pass version to see if there's something out there I'm already paying for. Plus they give you perks. So I'm fully in on the ecosystem.
I'm a fellow Play Passer and I still like it. I tend to go through kind of like little phases where I want a new game and I want this kind of game. And so I do go through, and if it's Play Passable, that's a plus. Play Pass, Play Pass is
Play Pass Plus.
Thank you. Play Pass is a plus.
They should have kept it Android Marketplace way easier to say.
Totally.
Yeah. I remember when it was labeled when they announced that it was the Play Store, and just thinking that was a horrible name.
I
Yeah.
remember
Like,
too.
why-
I was like,
Yep.
what is this?
Yep.
Why?
And we thought,
That
well,
makes
and
no
it was the whole,
sense.
and it was the whole thing because we're like, they don't want it to be just Android Marketplace because they're doing other things, and like we understood why they were changing it, but Play Store has never worked for me in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's why I say it's something I tolerate. You know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It's like the Nintendo Wii. I just tolerated that name as well.
yeah, yeah.
I didn't never liked it, but I tolerated it. It proved itself. All right. So happy anniversary or birthday. I'm not really quite sure what it is, but
Anniversary,
there you go.
birthday. Yeah.
Yeah. Same. All right. When you got the next one?
Yeah, so we talked about how Google is just all in and try to manifest and make large screens happen. And I know that I've complained about this several times on the show, where I think one of the things that is important when Google wants us to adopt something, and I mean developers, us developers, and I guess eventually users, is that they need to kind of like set examples and walk the walk and talk the talk. Well, they are continuing to do that. We've talked about updates they've made to YouTube Music as well as the Play Store. Well, now you're going to get Google Workspace large screen love. And there are going to be tablet updates coming to Google Workspace apps like Drive, Docs, Sheets, Slides, and Keep. And in the post announcing these updates, they cited that 10 million foldable devices shipped globally, and mentioned, that they're looking to get in the foldable game too. Actually, they didn't mention that personally, but all these kind of different factors make sense that they take, their Workspace apps and do something with them. So you're going to get a lot of the functionality which 12L and the large screen, advances have been touting, like drag and drop. So you're going to be able to drag and drop text and images more easily between these apps, especially when you have them in split screen mode. For Drive, you'll be able to use that in split screen mode and be able to say drag from Drive into other docs to create links. And then likewise, you could probably just drag things into Drive to upload them quickly, like documents and things like that. You will have increased keyboard shortcuts, which is another one of the kind of required features for large screen support, is to have keyboard support, because increasingly people with large screens have peripherals like keyboards. And so for Drive, Docs, and Slides, you'll be able to use those. And just in general, like a lot more making use of both the real estate as well as the split screen features. And drag and drop has been something that they've really been encouraging developers to make use of, whether that's being able to accept drag and dropped images and text and being able to do things like that. I think we like, for example, like for us, not there anymore, but for Trello, it was like, oh, can we take a drag and dropped image and make it a card right away, or take text and simply make a card right away? There are some interesting things, like you can drag a table or a Sheets table right into a doc, and it does whatever it needs to do to keep the theming formatting. So it makes a lot of sense, since we think of Google Workspace apps as being a little more enterprise friendly. I mean, everybody uses them, but they're kind of a enterprise work use case. And I think large screens have been somewhere that Google is really looking for, again, that those enterprise app and enterprise experiences, because it seems to make sense, right? To kind of pair large screens with enterprise. So it makes a lot of sense for this to be happening. And this is very much money where your mouth is. A lot of these are the features that they're saying, hey, devs, you really need this to have a quality large screen app. And they're doing it for, some pretty widely used and important Google apps. So what do y'all think? You excited to drag and drop, to use them keyboard shortcuts, or is this kind of like, oh, that's nice?
I think the drag and drop from one app to another is actually pretty
cool.
awesome. Like that has total like desktop operating system feels to it, right? Like that's something that I'm just not used to seeing on my phone, to be able to have a file or to be able to be on a browser, on one part of my phone and like tap and hold the word or the paragraph and drag it over into a Drive doc or something and have that actually work. That feels desktop-y to me and not Android device-ish to me. So that's cool. I think that's awesome. It'd be really handy.
Yeah, that's going to be especially handy for those tablets. Finally, a little more.
Yes.
Don't
Yes.
Samsung devices? I believe Samsung tablets already have like a feature like that, because
Oh, like
they
a drag
had
and
to
drop?
build it in with the S Pen
Because of Dex.
Yeah, probably
and Dex.
so.
Yep.
Because of all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. File drag and drop for Samsung. Yep. So you're right. Samsung was there first. So all the Samsung stands are going, yeah, see? You always diss Samsung and then blah, blah, blah. Fill in the blank. Yeah, I think that's cool. I'd love to see more of that and continue to see more of that and see how that impacts other developers. Like we always say, it's nice to see this coming from Google. How will this impact the rest of the products out there, of the apps out there? Absolutely. Remains to be seen. Mm-hmm. And then, do y'all remember Hangouts on Air? I thought Hangouts on Air was cool.
Weren't we just talking about this a couple of weeks ago? Because that's mainly what I used for my live streaming for iFanboy back in the day. Like that was what we did. Right. Hangouts on Air connected directly to YouTube, and you could just connect on Hangouts on Air and stream to your YouTube channel.
Yep. So what was old is new again, and it's pretty much it's back. It's coming back to Google Meet. Apparently, Meet has already supported live streaming for internal domains for businesses that want to host large meetings. So this functionality kind of has already existed, but now this ability is coming also to personal Gmail accounts, Google accounts, meaning users can live stream to YouTube. And yeah, which is basically, I mean, at the end of the day, it's basically Hangouts on Air. So it allows you to have a meeting with a group of people and then live stream that out to a YouTube player for people on YouTube to tune into while you're recording your podcast or conducting your meeting or whatever. And so that's coming back, courtesy of Google Meet.
It's enough to make a grown man go crazy or woman go crazy with all this back and forth and all this. It doesn't seem like it's actually. I mean, and call me crazy and call me like paranoid, but I feel like someone at Google's messing with us, like it's just like
it seems to be indicative of the siloed nature of Google that, at one hand, there is a team working on this product that makes the decision this thing's got to go. And then that just becomes this like divorced feature out, drifting out in space. And then somebody else goes into this other team and says, what'd be really cool is if our thing did that. And it's like, oh yeah, we should do that. And I don't know if maybe they like operate not realizing that like they had it over here, or they go, oh yeah, we've got that thing. Let's bring that over and make it easier, whatever. But it is funny. It just happens time and time again. Just keeps going. It's a tale as old as time with Google.
I want to make a super nerdy joke about how Google actually has re-rolled as a necromancer or something, and that they're just kind of using the, now we're getting kind of dark, like the old bodies of its former something minions and raise them up, and now it's like an army of like, I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm not that good at D&D.
They're reanimating their old ideas.
That's a really great movie, by the way.
Yeah.
Frightening, but good. So there you go. They're reanimating. So I don't know. Sorry, Mel. My buddy Mel is like my D&D expert. Sorry, Mel. I tried. I could not make the D&D thing work. So my bad.
I like it. Anytime we can get Reanimator on this show, I'm fully for it. All right, let's yes. Let's take a break and thank the sponsor, and then we will get to your emails and even a voicemail. But before we do that, this episode of All About Android is brought to you by Secureworks. Secureworks is a subsidiary of Dell. What would happen if an intruder broke into your home and moved in without you knowing it, sneaking around, maybe eating your spaghetti out of the fridge, using your Netflix account, finding out what you're watching on Netflix? Imagine an intruder doing the same thing to your IT infrastructure. How many passwords could they compromise? How many systems could they damage or even degrade, destroy? How many pieces of personal or financial data could they steal? Threat actors often, as we know, they hide in plain sight in IT systems for often very long amounts of time, more than 200 days on average before they're detected. So what happens when stopping at the endpoint is stopping your ability to properly defend your infrastructure? Well, enter Secureworks Taegis Extended Detection and Response, XDR. It enables a more comprehensive and effective security posture than ever before, with one unified singular point of view, providing unparalleled visibility. It's extensible following data moving beyond the perimeter and helping organizations unify their prevention, their detection, and response. It mitigates the issue of siloed security solutions that actually leave coverage gaps for the adversary to leverage. By organizing multiple point solutions and then creating one unified and clear picture of your infrastructure, Tejas XDR can help teams prevent threats effectively. Also detect them rapidly and then, yes, respond appropriately. Secureworks meets customers where they are with managed XDR. You're going to get a SaaS solution that can leverage the Secureworks experts 24/7, 365 days a year to investigate and then to respond to threats on your behalf. So you can cut dwell times, you can decrease your operational burden, and you can reduce cost. Some customers have a large security team and can manage XDR by themselves with minimal contact with our experts, but in most cases, companies have a shortage of security talent and actually need their help to manage and monitor any potential threats to their environment. Secureworks provides fast emergency response. They've got chat, of course, including incident commanders who will actually find the root cause while preparing you for future threats. So when your organization actually experiences a breach or a cyber attack, as you know, time is of the essence. There's no time to spare. If this happens, you just call 1-800-BREACHED, and Secureworks Emergency Incident Response Team can actually provide you immediate assistance responding to and remediating a possible cyber incident or data breach 24/7. Secureworks offers a purpose-built XDR solution designed to answer today's evolving security challenges, optimized by machine learning and deep detection capabilities, but refined through human intelligence and insights earned over decades of experience. A Gartner, Forrester, and IDC leader in security operations, Secureworks empowers organizations with the collaborative and innovative security solutions required to achieve strong security in an evolving digital world. At Secureworks, you can actually learn more about the ways today's threat environment is evolving and the risks it can present to your organization. That includes case studies, reports from their counter threat unit, and more. All you got to do is visit secureworks.com/twit, and you can get a free trial of Tejas XDR. That's secureworks.com/twit. Secureworks, defending every corner of cyberspace. Protect yourself, and we thank Secureworks for their support of All About Android. Good to have you on board. All right, and now it is time for the feedback section. Woo! AAA at twit.tv, 347 show AAA. And Huyen, you have the honors of the first email.
I do. And this first mail is from Mark B, who writes us saying, "You are the Android experts. Please help me. I purchased a Nokia T20 in December 2021. I thought, what a great idea. An Android tablet with OS upgrades. Well, it's still on Android 11, and now I see a new Nokia T20 tablet is being released with Android 12. Come on, Nokia. Where is the 12.1 for my T20? Thanks for letting me vent. Day one listener, Mark B." Oh, thank you, Mark B.
Ooh, day one. Awesome.
Day one.
That's awesome.
OG.
And, OG, and that really sucks. I personally couldn't figure. I mean, if you want to get all brave and start looking at like custom ROMs and stuff, maybe. I guess I don't know if I'd advise that. That's a kind of that's a long road to hoe, right? Is that the phrase? Long road to hoe?
Yeah.
Long
road to hoe. Yes.
Road to hoe, not road.
Not road. Yeah.
Is it a row? Oh, it's a row. That makes sense because a row of vegetables, not
a row of like in a garden or whatever it is. Yeah. So
yeah. That's it. Yeah. I mean, this is just a bummer, right?
Yeah.
What's that?
Looking up the specs on this because I'm trying to see if this person should just go drop $100 on on another Android tablet.
So let's see here. So still on Android 11. So I'm starting to do some searches right now. Am I looking at the? Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Okay, because it was saying.
So it says that they promised 2 years of updates, 3 years of security updates.
And this is the T10 tablet, right?
T20.
No, he's got the T20. Okay. Yeah. As of April, there were some like news posts that said Android 12 was being tested for the T20 tablet, but I haven't seen anything that says it's actually been released.
I have
so I don't know how you get in on the
suspicion
test.
that whatever software updates were supposed to go out are on hold as Android 13 gets finalized because of this whole tablet situation that's happening in 12L.
Oh,
Like, what is the point of pushing through a software update if you're just going to have to like iterate for it again? And you're going to have to, you know, you're going to have to work on something that is tablet friendly. So it's like, why not just wait for that bit?
Right,
so
right.
maybe hold tight.
Hold tight. Stay on target. Stay on target. Yeah, you
Was Nokia in the beta for Android 13? Yes, they were
that's a good
participating in
question.
the Android 13 beta program. It was announced in May, so it was announced right around Google I/O time. They were part of the developer. Maybe you can go load this on your tablet.
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, participating. I'm looking to see if that has that particular, like any particular models
It
called
looks
out
like
for it.
Nokia X20 is the only one right now.
The
doing
X20.
beta.
Okay, and that's different.
Which is a phone.
Okay. Yeah,
I love
and
that.
then-
Burke just wrote in our behind the scenes chat, who knew Nokia even made tablets with tablets in all caps, which it was exactly what I was thinking, Burke. So
Same.
there you go.
Same.
There you go.
Today I learned.
It is a bummer, though. It's a bummer. But I think you're probably right, Flo. You're probably absolutely right. Because 13, well, and 12.1, but 12.1 and 13 both are so consequential around tablets that maybe it just makes more sense on their end. That doesn't soften the blow, though, if you're the person that bought the tablet and you're almost nearing a year and you're like, I'm still kind of waiting for these supposed improvements. Where are they? An update did come through for this device last month, but it was still an Android 11 just security update, so I'm sure that Mark probably saw that notification and was like, oh, finally. And then, you get that letdown of like, oh no, never mind. It's that same old, version. Sigh. We feel your pain, Mark, but
we do.
Hang in there. Unless you've got a bunch of money and you want to just drop it on the next tablet,
Just go for it
and get right there. Then
that's always an option. That's always
wouldn't
an
stop
option.
you.
Yeah.
Or you can keep calm and T20 on.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll check in like 3 months, 4 months, 5. I don't know. Check it in 6 months.
Yeah, you let us know.
You let us know. Call.
All right. Our next mail is two of my favorite kind of things. First off, we hear Mark from Woodstock, New York, who told us where he's from. Thank you, Mark. But also, he didn't send in an email. He sent in a voicemail. So let's hear what Mark has to say.
Hello, AAA. Long-time listener. Just a word about your email last week of searching about ad blockers for Android. I'm on Pixel and also have developer options, so your mileage may vary. But in the settings, you can specify your own personal DNS, and you can use dns.adguard.com. You mentioned AdGuard in passing as an app, but you can just use their DNS, and that'll get rid of a lot of ads on a system-wide basis. I don't play games, so I don't know if games get through. But dns.adguard.com in the personal DNS settings works for me. Thanks. Bye.
That would not require you. Yeah, that would not require you to buy AdGuard, because AdGuard, if you're running that app on your device to do things like block ads and everything, you have to pay for that. But I think the DNS is free. So there's that, I suppose. So, yeah. If you feel like you want to block ads and you don't feel weird about doing that, keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But that's just a follow-up from a previous comment. Okay. Thanks, Mark. There's so much silence here. It's deafening.
And thank you, Mark, for sending in a voicemail. We really appreciate you using the voicemail feature. You've clearly been watching this show for a long time because you remember when people used to leave us voicemails.
We're appreciative of that. So
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mark.
And Flo, you have the honors this week.
Well, I really do appreciate that you guys saved the mail of the week for me when I am here. I really do sincerely appreciate it. So I hope to not let you down. Here we go. So I was watching the last episode of AAA and wanted to share an experience of ads in the lock screen. I am from India, and I used to work in a third-party mobile repairing shop. There I have seen ads in the lock screens in almost every budget phone, from Xiaomi, BBK Group, by the way, that's the owners of Oppo, side note, and even some Samsung phones. But in most of the phones, there's also a toggle in the settings to disable the ads from your lock screen, while budget phones with Android One UI and Pixel phones do not have ads at all. I should note that all the phones in my country are unlocked. On a second note, almost every phone in Android world has a biometric sensor to unlock it, which directly brings the user to the home screen of the phone, and that solves the problem in itself. Bhavneet Singh. Thank you, Bhavneet, for writing in. I do think that it's really important for us to consider these the usage from around the world, because obviously we're only one sliver of the market here in the US. And I don't know, I'm wondering, how do you guys feel now that we're a couple of weeks removed from the initial news of Glance and, what was being discussed because of the TechCrunch leak? So I'm wondering, how are you guys feeling? Because I'm not feeling as red alert about it as I was a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it kind of seems like maybe it was a little, potentially a little reactive. I guess we'll wait to be seen. But I think this is not the only bit of feedback that we've received from people in other parts of the world who have seen this play out where they are. And almost always, or at least, and I think we've probably received 3 pieces of feedback about this, but I think in all cases, it's been like, yes, this happens. It hasn't actually been that bad. And really, if you don't want it, there's ways to get rid of it. There's ways to remove it. And so if that's the case there, I would hope that would be the case here, because guaranteed some people are not going to want that. And if they're forced to have it, that's going to be an issue. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think part of our... Sorry. I feel like part of our reaction to it, or why it was so incredibly blown up, is because we're afraid that that's what the carriers are going to do to us. Because we have been, led astray by them before, and we're very much at the mercy of them in the U.S. market. So I think anytime there's reporting around, carriers are working with so-and-so company to do this, it feels like that company does not understand what they're possibly walking into. What is the carrier? The carrier is going to make us hate whatever they're going to force on us. Sort of how I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
I'm just still fascinated about what a fire or a lightning rod this whole topic has been with it, which is however the story of this coming, the whole thing. What's the platform again that in India that is I forgot the name of the product. Yeah. So the they're gearing up to come to the US. They're not. It's not even here. There's so much finishing the sentence that's happening already around this topic, and we don't even know what the execution will look like, what the carrier involvement would be, and they're just we've had so many hot takes on this show, and it's gotten so much response from the community itself, and I just find it just it reminds me a lot of the conversation around the World Wide Web when banner ads were starting to come out, because they're going to ruin it and everything like that. And now that said, here we are 20 years later, and yes, going to blogs is nearly impossible because of stupid video playing ads and all this sort of stuff, and it really has eroded the quality of it, but it hasn't rendered the web useless. You know what I mean? It still has survived. And I think, again, not to be someone who is devil's advocating for the sake of doing it, but I don't think that this will be the end of the world. I don't know. It's just me. So
yeah. When earlier you had something you wanted to add. What were you going to say?
No, I think also I think sometimes when I hear about ads on a thing, I get this gut reaction, thinking about pop-up ads are just, the most egregious kind of in your face, wild advertising strange things. But I think what's interesting and what we talked about a little bit in like the article, like I think the first episode we talked about this, is that the content that shows up does vary widely by region. I think I forgot whether it was 9 to 5 or I think it was 9 to 5, but the writer of one of the articles that we were talking about noted that in Germany, because of laws, the ads are very subtle. They're sponsored images, they're sponsored wallpapers. So it seems like maybe that they are conscious of user, not to be like totally positive on like advertising and things like that, but it does seem that their attempt is they're trying to make it tailored to a user's experience, and not that any or all user tailored advertising is good or wanted, but that it might be. I mean, I think just wait and see. Like, what do the laws in the U.S. allow, and what does the consumer response and reaction drive glance to do anyway? So, I mean, I have a good reaction that I don't like it, but I think it is sobering to hear from folks like Bavneet who, like, it's no big deal. Like, it happens, and certainly it might have a place, especially like I think we already discussed like budget phones, and then there's still probably options where everyone will still probably have a lock screen free option somewhere, hopefully at every price point. So I think I've calmed down. I don't know, just a gut reaction like ads, but I really have appreciated all the feedback that we've gotten. So we'll have to wait. I think wait and see.
Yeah. The feedback has helped to kind of alleviate a little bit of the sting and be like, oh, okay.
The sting of something that hasn't this sting of something that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah,
I know.
That's what we do.
We're afraid of what will be. That's why like I said, we've been burned many times before.
We've been burned.
True.
Change is hard. Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you for writing in, Bavneet. Oh, I'll let you close it out, Flo. It's your honors.
Well, I thank you so much for writing in, Bavneet, and anybody else who would like to write us, you can email us at AAA@twit.tv. Your questions, comments, concerns. Actually, don't send in questions, comments, or concerns unless they're about Android. Sorry, I got mixed up on the show that I was on. That's usually the thing that I say on gadgets.
Questions, comments,
so I apologize.
Questions, comments, and concerns are welcome. Why not?
Sure.
It's usually,
it's all welcome.
Yes. Anyway, and thank you all for allowing me to read the email of the week, even when I botch it.
There we go. You got it. We have reached the end of this episode of All About Android, and it has been a hoot and a holler. Both of them, in fact. And Flo, it's great to have you back. Thank you for hopping on tonight. What do you want to leave people with? What should people know?
Well, if Burke has a second, I'd like to show people my vanity URL, which is flowrights.tech. And when you type in flowrights.tech into your URL bar, mobile and desktop, it will take you to my Gizmodo author page. And when you get to my Gizmodo author page, you will see all of the stories that I write for Gizmodo.com. But also, Burke, if you could please click on that second link underneath the keyboard review that published today. You will notice that I write these little stumps for Gadgets, which is my video podcast that I do at Gizmodo.com. We have clips that circulate on the site, but if you would like the whole show, you can go to Gizmodo's YouTube page to check it out.
Nice. Excellent
and
stuff.
also I'm on Material on the Relay FM network.
That's right.
I'm also there every week.
Talking Google and Alphabet and all other things, not just Android.
Yes. And what Andy and I are spending our money on is really what the podcast is about these days.
Which is important.
Excellent. Yeah.
Important.
We all want to know that.
Inquiring.
Thank you, Flo. Appreciate it. What about you, Win?
Me, I'm an Android dev, and I often talk about Android things, especially Android development. And I am planning to talk a little more in depth about stuff like the feature I showed. I love actually showing that feature because then I can. I mean, I guess you didn't see me write it, so I could still have shown you something that someone else wrote. But I like kind of proving that I am in fact an Android dev. That is my day job, and you can hear more in-depth discussion of technical topics at my talks over at my website, randomlytyping.com. And occasionally I do tweet about Android and kind of all sorts of other crap over on my Twitter at Queen Code Monkey, which is also my Instagram handle. So check me out there, and thank you.
Thank you. Always good to do a little podcast with you, Win. Appreciate it.
You too. You all too.
And what about you, Ron?
Well, I am very tired after San Diego Comic-Con this past weekend. Even though I wasn't actually in San Diego, I was up late working every night since last Wednesday. So just follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at RonXO. And summer rolls on. We're in the dog days of summer. So stay cool. Be good to one another. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. And party on, dude. All right. Big thanks to Burke at the studio for pushing buttons, making this happen behind the scenes, occasionally talking on the show. Appreciate you. Also appreciate you, Victor. Thank you for all the behind the scenes wrangling of the edit and the publish and making sure that people can actually watch and listen to the show each and every week. So thank you for what you do. You can find me at Jason Howell on Twitter. Also doing shows on the Twit Network, Tech News Weekly this Thursday with Micah Sargent, twit.tv/TNW. And actually last Sunday, I hosted This Week in Tech in Leo's absence. So had just a blast of a time in that kind of Leo role for a change on that show. So had a really great time. Megan Maroney was there, Roberto Baldwin, Ashley Esquetha. It was a lot of fun. So check that out, twit.tv/twit. It was a blast. Don't forget twit.tv/clubtwit. Club Twit is our ad-free subscription tier. You can get all our shows without any ads, obviously. You also get access to an exclusive Twit Plus podcast feed. Lots of extra content. In fact, new shows being launched in the club. Hands on Windows just launched with Paul Thurrott at the helm of that. And that's only to club members. And then if you're a member, you also get access to the members only Discord. It's $7 a month, or you can pay for a full year, $84 for the entire year. twit.tv/clubtwit. And you can get in on the action there. But as for this show, we do the show every Tuesday. There we go. There it is. It's a beautiful graphic. We do this show every Tuesday at twit.tv/AAA. You can find all the information you need to know about what we do, when we do it, which is Tuesday evenings. So if you're subscribed, you get it like late Tuesday, early Wednesday, thanks to the hard work of Victor behind the scenes. And you don't even really have to think about it. It'll just appear magically for you. Thank you so much for watching and listening to this episode of All About Android. We will see you next time. Bye, everybody. Hey. Glyph!
Shiny.
Glyph!
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I am Ant Pruitt, and I am the host of Hands-On Photography here on Twit TV. I know you got yourself a fancy smartphone, you got yourself a fancy camera, but your pictures are still lacking. Can't quite figure out what the heck shutter speed means? Watch my show. I got you covered. Want to know more about just the ISO and exposure triangle in general? Yeah, I got you covered. Or if you got all of that down, you want to get into lighting, making things look better by changing the lights around you. I got you covered on that too. So check us out each and every Thursday here on the network. Go to twit.tv/hop and subscribe today.